YNR Mega Highlight, Secrets Ignite, Lovers Collide, and a sudden disappearance sends Genoa City into chaos. Genoa City is about to explode with passion, panic, and jaw-dropping twists. This week, Lily walks in on a moment that shatters her world, catching Kane and Phyllis in a steamy encounter that no one saw coming. But before the shock even settles, disaster strikes. Noah suddenly vanishes without a trace, sending Sharon, Nick, and the entire Newman family into full-blown crisis mode. Meanwhile, Phyllis isn't slowing down. She's turning up the heat on Kane like never before, pushing boundaries and risking everything, but why she's seducing him is far more complicated than anyone realizes, and the truth could blow up every relationship in her orbit. As Claire and Audra launch into a fierce, no-mercy showdown, their war engulfs the rest of the town, leaving friendships fractured and alliances shifting by the hour. And while Christine and Danny prepare for a beautiful wedding, powerful forces behind the scenes threaten to pull the celebration apart before it even begins. Victor is plotting his own bold strike against Matt, Jack is demanding answers, and every character is standing on the edge of a week that promises shockwaves, consequences, and betrayals no one can escape. This is The Young and the Restless at its most explosive, and every twist leads to a bigger one. You won't be able to stop watching. Welcome to Celebrity Gossip 24 Hours, where the drama unfolds and the stories captivate. Join us as we delve into the intriguing world of Young and the Restless, revealing the untold tales and hidden truths behind the headlines. YNR Shockwave, Lily walks in on Kane and Phyllis, then Noah vanishes without a trace. Friday's episode of The Young and the Restless delivered a jolt of chaos from coast to coast, as tensions erupted in Los Angeles and Genoa City. While Noah makes a sudden move that spirals into a dangerous confrontation, Lily reaches a breaking point after discovering Kane in a moment he can't explain away, a moment that sets off a chain reaction no one expects. Noah's disappearance sends Nick and Sharon into panic mode. At a Los Angeles hospital, Nick and Sharon brace themselves for a difficult talk with Noah after the explosive argument the night before. Their plan derails instantly. When they enter his room, the guard they assigned is mysteriously gone, and so is Noah. A nurse casually reveals that Noah checked himself out, dismissed the guard, and walked away without interference. Since he's legally an adult, no one had authority to stop him. Nick and Sharon immediately spiral into worst-case scenarios, calling their son over and over with no response. Nick finally admits he knows exactly where Noah would run. And he's right. Mitch corners Noah and makes a damning accusation. Noah returns to the private club known as the Shadow Room, hoping to hide from the chaos. Instead, he walks straight into Mitch, who wastes no time accusing him of the worst possible betrayal. Mitch demands answers, insisting Noah has crossed a line by getting close to his wife, Sienna. Noah tries to dismiss the accusation as paranoia, but Mitch grows more aggressive, pressing for details and claiming Noah has been undermining him for months. As Noah repeatedly denies anything inappropriate, the tension inside the empty club turns combustible. Before Noah can escape, Mitch blocks his path and pushes him to revisit the crash that nearly cost Noah his life, a crash Mitch suddenly seems far too interested in revisiting. Noah bolts, but his disappearance becomes more mysterious by the minute. Lily confesses she still sees the old Kane, and Nate warns her. Back in Genoa City, Lily and Nate sneak out of the office for a seasonal hot chocolate break. Nate jokes about Kane getting burned by his own AI mistakes, but Lily surprises him by revealing how fragile Kane seemed the last time they spoke. Nate gently suggests that she may not be as over Kane as she claims. Lily admits she's unsure of her own feelings, a confession that leaves Nate concerned about her emotional collision course with the past. After they split, Nate's own day takes a turn when he bumps into Victoria, who pulls him into an unexpectedly warm conversation. She's relieved about Noah's recovery, worried about Holden, and clearly hoping Nate has finally closed the chapter on Audra. When she invites him to dinner, Nate doesn't hesitate. Kane and Phyllis ignite a spark, just as Lily arrives. Meanwhile, Kane meets Phyllis at society, where their flirtation finally breaks the surface. Phyllis openly admits she's drawn to him, not just professionally, but personally. Kane tries to shield himself with talk of Lily, but Phyllis pushes harder, insisting he wants a new start and that she sees his potential. Her argument ends with a bold kiss. And that's exactly the moment Lily walks in. Kane scrambles to explain, insisting Phyllis was playing games and he was simply working an angle. Lily doesn't buy it. She reminds him trust doesn't magically repair itself, and though she still sees the man he used to be, she's no longer sure he's the man she needs now. Kane lashes out, accusing her of never loving him enough. The fight leaves both shattered, and Kane storms out. Kane declares a fresh start, with Phyllis. Unable to shake the moment, Kane heads straight to the athletic club and finds Phyllis waiting at the bar. Without hesitation, he tells her he's done clinging to his past and ready to move forward. "What are you doing tonight?" he asks, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Nick warns Mitch, and Noah's fate darkens. Back in LA, Nick and Sharon track Mitch to the shadow room, but Noah is nowhere to be found. Mitch feigns ignorance, taunting them about their parenting and refusing to answer questions about Sienna. Nick's patience snaps. He vows that if Mitch harmed Noah in any way, he won't walk away unscathed. And with Noah missing, the threat suddenly feels very real. Today's next update. Why in our next week preview, Noah's disappearance sparks panic, Phyllis turns up the heat, and Genoa City braces for explosive consequences. The upcoming week on The Young and the Restless delivers a powerful mix of fear, seduction, and emotional turmoil. While Noah Newman faces a terrifying ordeal that sends his parents into full crisis mode, Phyllis Summers gears up for one of her boldest romantic maneuvers in recent memory. Meanwhile, Claire, Holden, and Kyle find themselves tangled in a new wave of romantic complications. Buckle up, Genoa City is about to hit another boiling point. Noah vanishes, and Sharon and Nick spiral into panic. The week begins with a shocking discovery. Noah has suddenly checked himself out of the hospital after his recent accident, and he didn't bother to call his parents. Sharon and Nick rush over, only to discover his room completely empty. The staff casually informs them that Noah was cleared to leave, offering little explanation and even less concern. Their growing anxiety intensifies when every call they make to Noah's phone sends them straight to voicemail. This is the last thing Sharon Newman needs. Already rattled by Noah's injuries and emotional turmoil, she quickly spirals from worried to frantic. Nick isn't far behind. Both of them are convinced something about Noah's behavior and his mysterious disappearance doesn't add up. Chaos grows when Sharon and Nick rush to the shadow room, hoping Noah may have gone there to confront the shadowy and increasingly dangerous figure circling their son's life, Mitch Matt Clark. What they don't realize is that Noah has indeed gone to the club, but with a very different goal. He was searching for Sienna, the woman who has placed him at the center of a dangerous marital storm. A trap springs shut, Noah ambushed, Burrow steps in. Unfortunately for Noah, his search leads him straight into Mitch's grasp. Mitch greets him with a smooth facade of kindness before letting his simmering rage surface. The tension between the two men escalates rapidly, with Mitch accusing Noah of betraying his hospitality and destroying his marriage. Before Noah can escape the conversation, Detective Burrow barges in, though his concern for the case seems far from legitimate. The supposedly authoritative detective insists Noah accompany him back to the crash site for memory recovery, but Noah senses something is off. Burrow, however, uses his badge as a weapon, forcing Noah into his custody and shutting down any argument Noah tries to make. It becomes clear that Burrow is acting on someone else's orders, or perhaps his own corrupt motivations. Either way, Noah never makes it to see his parents. Instead, he's whisked away into a deeply troubling situation. Minutes later, Sharon and Nick reach the shadow room. Mitch stonewalls them, feigning ignorance about Noah's whereabouts. His refusal to help only heightens their fury, and Sharon and Nick come dangerously close to losing control. Mitch warns them to back off, throwing out threats of calling the police for trespassing. Nick fires back with a threat of his own, making it crystal clear, if Mitch has harmed Noah, there will be hell to pay. Kidnapped and locked away, Noah faces a nightmare. Next week, viewers will see the terrifying aftermath. Noah regains consciousness in a locked room, disoriented, injured, and completely unsure where he is. Worse, he's not alone. Sienna has also been taken. Both of them realize they've been trapped together, possibly as part of a twisted plan designed to torment them. Noah struggles to understand what happened, and Sienna desperately tries to keep him awake as he drifts in and out of clarity. All signs point to Mitch pulling strings behind the scenes, though Detective Burrow seems to be the immediate threat. Whether Mitch wants revenge, answers, or simply power, Noah and Sienna are now pawns in a dangerous game. Sharon cornered, a menacing encounter in her hotel. While Noah remains captive, Sharon faces her own chilling moment. Exhausted from fear and searching for answers, she attempts to rest in her hotel room. Just as she's about to leave after a sudden fire alarm, she swings open her door and freezes. Mitch is standing right in front of her. The expression on his face is predatory, cold, and filled with the same barely restrained anger he hurled at Noah earlier. Sharon is isolated, vulnerable, and forced to reckon with the possibility that she may be his next target. With Noah missing, Sienna unaccounted for, and Mitch now directly confronting Sharon, the situation takes a dramatic turn. Nick may soon become the next person in Mitch's crosshairs, especially if he continues threatening a man who has clearly snapped. November sweeps are reaching their boiling point, and this storyline is rapidly approaching a dangerous climax. One wrong move could cost someone their life. Phyllis Summers intensifies her seductive strategy. Meanwhile, in an entirely different kind of chaos, Phyllis Summers is on a mission, one that's equal parts emotional, strategic, and seductive. Her growing chemistry with Kane Ashby has been undeniable, and Kane finally calls her out on it. Is she really trying to seduce him? Phyllis doesn't hesitate to clarify, not only is she interested, but she thinks he'd be foolish not to consider her. Kane tries to resist, reminding her that he's still holding on to feelings for Lily Winters. But Phyllis pushes right through that emotional barrier, insisting Kane needs someone who meets him on every level, emotionally, professionally, and yes, intimately. When Kane lets his guard drop for a moment, Phyllis seizes the opportunity and kisses him. Unfortunately, or perhaps perfectly timed, Lily walks in just in time to witness the moment. Phyllis leaves Kane to deal with the fallout, but her impact lingers. Kane insists the kiss meant nothing, that Phyllis is manipulating the situation. Lily isn't buying it, and the tension between the ex-spouses explodes. When Kane makes one final heartfelt attempt to reunite with Lily, she shuts him down with painful clarity. Heartbroken and angry, Kane tracks down Phyllis at the GCAC. This time, he's not resisting. He tells her she was right, he needs a fresh start and a clean break from the past. When Kane asks Phyllis if she's free that night, she gives him exactly the answer he wants. By the end of the week, Kane is in Phyllis's room at the GCAC, and the chemistry between them is undeniable. They're caught up in a passionate whirlwind that looks destined to lead exactly where Phyllis intended. Unless someone interrupts, next week may mark the beginning of a full-blown new romance, or a brand new disaster in the making? Claire, Holden, and Kyle, a love triangle ready to explode. Elsewhere in Genoa City, Claire Grace Newman finds herself juggling complicated feelings. She decides it's time to talk to Holden Novak about what happened between them in Los Angeles. Their intimate night together still lingers in his mind, and Holden's feelings have only deepened. Claire, however, isn't so sure. She's already told Victoria Newman that Holden isn't the one for her, yet the connection between them refuses to disappear. Whether she plans to friendzone him or admit that their night together meant more than she expected remains to be seen. But Kyle Abbott is about to find out, and that discovery may send everything spiraling. Even though Claire was single at the time, Kyle won't hesitate to confront her about sleeping with Holden. His jealousy could push Claire away further, making Holden look like the safer, more appreciative choice. What Claire decides next may reshape all three of their futures. Final thoughts. Next week on The Young and the Restless, every storyline is reaching a fever pitch. Noah fights for survival while trapped with Sienna. Sharon and Nick wage war on a man who may be far more dangerous than they realized. Phyllis and Kane ignite a scandalous new flame. Claire's romantic crossroads threatens to ignite a triangle ready to explode. Today's next update. YNR recap, November 17th, Phyllis turns up the heat on Kane, Claire and Audra's war erupts, and Genoa City feels the fallout. The November 17th episode of The Young and the Restless delivers one of the juiciest blends of romance, rivalry, and emotional unraveling we've seen all month. The walls seem to close in on Kane as accusations continue piling up. Phyllis nudges him deeper into her seductive web, and Claire Grace finally reaches her breaking point in her ongoing feud with Audra. With relationships tested, secrets teased, and tensions erupting in public places, this episode sets the stage for battles that will surely grow even more explosive as November sweeps roll on. Adam, Chelsea and Lily, a brewing storm over Kane's future. The episode kicks off with a tense but comedic moment at Society. Chelsea tries to engage Adam in conversation, but he's glued to his phone. When she finally manages to drag his attention back, his distraction becomes clear. He's reading fresh updates about Erupts, Kane's company, which is apparently crumbling fast. Adam is almost disturbingly amused. To him, Kane's downfall feels earned. He reminds Chelsea that Kane once had plans that could have shaken the entire corporate foundation of Genoa City. In Adam's eyes, Kane's crisis is karmic. Dangerous actions eventually create dangerous consequences. But before Adam can elaborate, Lily walks in and overhears everything. Her expression says it all. She is not pleased. Lily wastes no time challenging Adam's harsh stance. She argues that whatever Kane is facing now is far more complicated than Adam's gleeful commentary suggests. She especially takes issue with the idea that Kane deserves everything coming to him. From Lily's perspective, no one deserves to be crushed under the Newman machine, not even someone who's made as many mistakes as Kane. This disagreement spirals into a larger debate about trust, redemption, and responsibility. Adam accuses Kane of putting countless lives at risk. Chelsea shares her opinion that Kane probably always intended to use his controversial AI software. Neither of them thinks Kane has earned a second chance. But Lily stands her ground. She insists that Kane realized his actions were spiraling out of control and was prepared to undo the damage before external interference stole that chance from him. In Lily's eyes, Kane's biggest mistake wasn't his ambition, it was letting secrecy drive a wedge between himself and the people he loves. Chelsea then asks the question that's been lingering beneath the surface, is Lily softening toward Kane again? Lily admits she sees the pain behind Kane's mistakes, especially his desire to rebuild his relationship with their children. But she also acknowledges that being around Kane means navigating dangerous emotional terrain. Lily eventually steps away from the conversation, her emotions swirling. As she sits alone later, sipping wine at the bar, she replays her recent interactions with Kane. The memories leave her conflicted, torn between protecting herself and wanting to believe that Kane is genuinely trying to change. The internal battle becomes too heavy to carry silently, so she leaves Kane a message asking for time, clarity, and patience. It's a poignant moment, one that hints Lily may not be done with Kane emotionally, no matter how much she tries to convince herself otherwise. Phyllis and Kane, seduction, strategy, and the return of Audra. Over at the Genoa City Athletic Club, Kane and Phyllis take center stage in one of the most electric storylines of the day. The pair start with what looks like a simple dinner. But anyone familiar with Phyllis Summers knows that nothing involving her is ever simple, nor innocent. Kane admits he enjoys being around Phyllis, but she quickly senses there's more behind his sudden interest than attraction alone. She prods, analyzes, and finally zeroes in on the truth. Kane is wrestling with the shadow of Audra, the ruthless persona he created to build his empire. Phyllis, never one to shy away from morally gray territories, encourages him to embrace that side of himself rather than bury it. She views Dumas as a symbol of ingenuity and boldness, not destruction. Her argument is compelling. Why suppress the part of himself that made him powerful? Why let guilt erase everything he built? She nudges him to remember that ambition isn't a sin, and survival in Genoa City often requires sharper edges than Kane is comfortable showing. Kane insists he wants to destroy the Dumas persona for good. To him, that identity represents deception, fractured trust, and the loss of his family. But Phyllis counters that denying his darker instincts will only weaken him. If Kane wants to reclaim control of his life, over his company, his name, and even his children, he must stop apologizing for every difficult decision he's made. For the first time in a long time, Kane appears to really listen to someone. Their dinner grows increasingly intimate as emotional vulnerability morphs into chemistry. By the time they finish their drinks, Kane is the one who suggests they continue their conversation in a more private setting. Phyllis invites him to her suite, and that's where things become heated in more ways than one. Inside her room, their flirtatious banter grows playful as they pour new drinks and settle into a cozy atmosphere. Phyllis tests Kane, pushing, teasing, challenging him intellectually and emotionally. She even pitches the idea of him investing in her mysterious new venture, though she refuses to reveal details. Kane, both intrigued and exasperated, accuses her of playing a complicated game. But he doesn't walk away. If anything, his interest deepens. Phyllis leans into the seduction, reminding Kane that she admires his intelligence, his sharp instincts, and the fearless version of himself he tries so hard to suppress. Her praise gets under his skin in exactly the way she intends. Kane admits she has his full attention, and before long, the tension between them ignites. They share a passionate kiss that makes it clear, Phyllis and Kane's connection is no longer theoretical, it's real, intense, and potentially dangerous. Claire and Holden, honesty, heartbreak, and the Audra explosion. Across town, Claire, Grace, and Holden meet up at Crimson Lights, and their interaction takes a sharp emotional turn. Claire admits she's been reflecting deeply on their time together in LA. The trip was supposed to provide clarity, an escape, a chance to breathe, and maybe a chance to explore things she's been too afraid to confront. Holden was part of that clarity. Their connection was natural, freeing, and unexpectedly intimate. Holden, for his part, was hopeful. He enjoyed seeing a different side of Claire, one unburdened by Genoa City's complicated history. Yet he also sensed lingering tension between her and Kyle, and he quietly prepared himself for disappointment. When Claire reveals she isn't rekindling things with Kyle but also isn't ready for a serious relationship with Holden, he's understanding but visibly saddened. He tries to mask his disappointment with kindness, but his vulnerability shows. Their bond is real, but the timing may not be right. But before they can settle into a gentle emotional conversation, the atmosphere shifts dramatically. Audra storms in. Instantly, the tension skyrockets. She throws barbed comments at the pair, implying Claire only ended up with Holden because Kyle lost her to someone less deserving. Claire fires back with blistering sarcasm, referencing Audra's past scandals and business failures. The argument escalates quickly. Holden tries to keep peace, but the two women are locked into a verbal battle neither plans to lose. Audra taunts Claire, Claire hurls accusations right back, and the air crackles with hostility. Matters turn physical when Audra flicks Claire under the chin, provoking her. Claire shoves Audra in response, making it clear she won't be intimidated. Before leaving, Claire drops a cryptic threat suggesting a secret will soon come to light, something that could expose Audra in a devastating way. Holden follows Claire out, knowing the confrontation may have just opened a fresh chapter in an already complicated feud. Phyllis and Kane, a dangerous partnership begins. Back at the GCAC suite, the tension continues to simmer as Phyllis and Kane settle deeper into their night together. Kane questions her motives. Is she working an angle involving Arabesque? Does she want to capitalize on his downfall? Phyllis dismisses these concerns, claiming her new business has nothing to do with him or his collapsing empire. Kane still doubts her but finds her mystery irresistible. The more Kane challenges her, the more Phyllis leans into her sultry confidence. She praises his brilliance, calls him out on underestimating himself, and continues urging him to reclaim the inner power he keeps trying to bury. Her message, though seductive, carries strategic undertones. Phyllis wants Kane ambitious, bold, and unpredictable. And Kane, emotionally raw and craving validation, may be more tempted by that vision than he cares to admit. By the end of the night, one thing is clear, these two have just crossed a line that will be impossible to uncross. Final thoughts, Genoa City is ready to explode. This episode masterfully blends emotional chaos with rising tension. Lily wrestles with her heart while Adam and Chelsea refuse to give Kane the benefit of the doubt. Phyllis pushes Kane into a seductive, manipulative alliance that could reshape both of their futures. Claire and Audra's rivalry reaches new heights, public, physical, and deeply personal. Holden finds himself stuck between honesty, hope, and heartbreak. Today's next update. The Young and the Restless Monday, November 17th recap, Claire and Audra's raging showdown, Phyllis and Kane's private passion. The Young and the Restless recap for Monday, November 17th, reveals that Claire Newman and Audra Charles will have a raging showdown while Phyllis Summers and Kane Ashby indulge in some private passion. At Crimson Lights, Claire will bump into Holden Novak and think they should talk about what happened between them in Los Angeles. Although Claire still won't have any regrets about their night together, she won't be sure it's going to happen again. Claire will assure Holden that she's not reuniting with Kyle Abbott, but she won't be ready to jump into a new relationship either. Holden will worry that his confession about what went down with Audra might be pushing Claire away. Claire will assure Holden that considering her history, she wouldn't judge someone else who also regrets past mistakes. When Claire seeks confirmation that Holden indeed regrets his actions with Audra, he'll hesitate briefly before insisting that of course he does. Claire will be suspicious and wonder if Holden would tell her if there was a worse part of the story he left out. When Audra pops up, she'll immediately start pushing Claire's buttons. Claire will get under Audra's skin too by bringing up the shadow room and all the excitement Audra found in Los Angeles back in the day. Claire will eventually lash out at Audra for being selfish and having no scruples, but Audra will point out that at least she didn't try to kill her entire family. Holden will do his best to stop the fight that's breaking out, but Claire will hint about being able to change things with one phone call and will warn Audra to stay out of her way. Audra will fire back about crossing whatever boundary she needs to cross to keep Claire quiet. After Audra threatens to mess up that pretty face of Claire's, Holden will finally convince Claire to leave with him. However, Claire will remind Holden that he still has to answer her question. When Audra asks what the question is, Claire will suggest that Audra and everyone else will find out soon enough. At Society, Lily Winters will overhear Adam Newman talking to Chelsea Lawson about Kane getting what he deserves. Lily will rush to Kane's defense since he's genuinely trying to make amends and will push the Newmans to back off so their family can heal. Adam and Chelsea will be skeptical of Kane's redemption attempt, so they'll continue to act like this is karma and that what happens next is up to Kane. After Lily walks away on Monday's Y&R episode, Chelsea will mull over whether Lily might give Kane another chance. Adam will feel like there's a lot more of Dumas left in Kane than Lily's willing to admit. At Society's bar, Lily will flash back to various interactions with Kane since he's been back in Genoa City. Once Lily dials Kane's phone number, she'll apologize in a voicemail since things got heated earlier. Lily will struggle with her words as she talks about needing time and not knowing if Kane has the patience for that or not. While Lily disconnects in frustration, Kane will be busy enjoying his evening with Phyllis, who'll work to convince him that he shouldn't bury Aristotle Dumas. Phyllis will play up Dumas' bold qualities and suggest Kane should embrace the blur between Dumas and Kane. After Kane and Phyllis hint about secret plans, he'll urge her to invite him up to her suite for a nightcap. Kane will end up drinking with Phyllis in her room, where he'll suggest maybe she stole the AI program and used it on Arabesque so she could scoop it up cheap. Phyllis will deny that and once again lie that she wasn't behind the AI program theft. Kane and Phyllis will ultimately have an intense makeout session as they both embrace their attraction to each other. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Kane may regret taking things this far with Phyllis once he hears Lily's voicemail, so stay tuned for updates on his reaction to the latest Lily news. Today's next update. Weekly Young and the Restless spoilers November 17th to 21st, Phyllis and Kane heat up, Christine and Danny get married. Does Holden make a connection that isn't Claire? And Noah and Sienna fall into a trap. Does Mitch/Matt set that trap? Next week on The Young and the Restless, the heat Phyllis and Kane generated on Friday's episode continues. So does that mean Kane really doesn't care about finding out who stole his AI program, which was subsequently used on Arabesque? Meanwhile, Holden connects with Lily. And Phyllis's rival, Christine, gets married to Danny. Will things go smoothly on their big day? Here's what is happening on Y&R during the week of November 17th to 21st. Key takeaways. Phyllis and Kane's spark intensifies, pushing their alliance into steamy and risky territory. Christine and Danny finally tie the knot, bringing family, friends, and long-awaited nostalgia to Genoa City. Jack confronts Nikki as corporate warfare erupts over the mysterious AI weapon. Lily unleashes on Adam and Chelsea before forming an unexpected connection with Holden. Noah and Sienna land themselves in a dangerous trap. Next week on The Young and the Restless. Phyllis and Christine's very good week. That kiss that Phyllis and Kane shared during Friday's episode doesn't end there. Apparently, the two will be sharing space and more next week. On Monday, their alliance takes an interesting turn, then later in the week, they turn the heat up. While Phyllis connects with Kane, it's finally time for Danny and Christine's wedding. Family and friends gather for their long-awaited wedding. We'll get to see Michael officiate, Lauren act as matron of honor, Daniel as best man, and we'll find out which dress Cricket wears as she walks down the aisle. Additionally, we'll see if they are really serving those mini donuts instead of a wedding cake. Corporate Corner. Don't worry. Genoa City's corporate games will also take front and center next week. Look for Jack to interrogate Nikki, most likely about whether or not the mustache is coming for Jabot with the not-so-secret AI superweapon that has supposedly decimated Kane's company. Phyllis gave it to Victor, so naturally Jack would assume his company is next. Meanwhile, Audra is the only person in GC that is unhireable. She tries and things never seem to work out for her. Even Sally, her bestie, can't bring her on to Abbott Communications yet because Jill rejected her Audra pitch. And Jill holds the purse strings. But Audra is forever tenacious. She starts to plot her next move. What will that involve? Lily confronts Adam and Chelsea about their scheming. To be fair, they really are scheming. Victor wants to go after Jack, so he is entrusting Adam and Chelsea to cause a huge distraction. Adam's plan is to go after Billy and cause an Abbott Communications uproar, and that's when Victor can unleash the AI program on Jabot. Add that to Newman Media's various hit pieces focusing on Billy and Kane, and no wonder Lily takes it upon herself to unload on Adam and Chelsea. But that's not the only thing Lily is up to next week. Look for the Winters exec to commiserate with Holden of all people. Holden and Lily are in a precarious place with Claire and Kane respectively. Do the two manage to create a connection from this conversation? Odds and ends, L.A. style. It's time to check in with the Los Angeles crew. Nick, not so surprisingly, digs for dirt. He and Sharon will not let up on Mitch/Matt, but they need to be smart about it. So this could be about finding intel they can use on Matt or discover what he has been up to during his L.A. era. While Nick digs for dirt, Sharon stands her ground with Matt Clark. What will the exes learn about this guy next week? Finally, Noah and Sienna didn't do a very good job of hiding their relationship. Nick spotted them kissing. And it turns out that Mitch/Matt knew about it, too. Despite Noah trying to gaslight Mitch and lie about their sneaking around behind Mitch's back, Sienna and Noah are about to fall into a trap. The question is, does Matt set that trap or does he have his cop pal, Detective Burrow, do it? Today's next update. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Tuesday, November 18th, Victor targets Matt with bold move, Jack's interrogation. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, November 18th, reveal that Victor Newman will target Matt Clark aka Mitch Bacall with a bold move while Jack Abbott launches an interrogation. For starters, Jack will try to pry some answers out of Nikki Newman regarding the AI program threat and what Victor plans to do next. Although Jack will count on Nikki to supply inside info on the looming attack, he'll inevitably come up empty. Nikki doesn't want to see Jack or Jabot face a downfall, so she'd tell him if she had any details on what's brewing. Jack will just have to wait and worry while Victor plots against him, but Victor's mind will be on other things in Tuesday's YNR episode. It turns out Victor will have his eye on a different target after discovering that Matt is alive and living as Mitch in Los Angeles. Whether Michael Baldwin uncovers the new identity shocker or Nick Newman simply decides to bring his dad in the loop, Victor will fume over Matt's comeback. Nick should offer news on Matt going after Noah Newman and leave Victor even more furious. It won't be long until Victor offers Nick backup and pitches in with a Matt retaliation scheme. At the GCAC, things will get even hotter in Phyllis Summer's suite. Phyllis and Kane Ashby's time together will take another sizzling turn, so it sounds like they may strip down and hit the sheets. Of course, Kane may wish he'd shown some restraint when he hears Lily's message later. It seems Lily's starting to come around and maybe open herself up to the possibility of a reunion with Kane, but she needs him to be patient with her. Kane is acting on risky impulses instead and could ruin this window of Lily reconciliation if he's not careful. This mess with Phyllis could cause another setback, so stay tuned for updates on what's ahead in this strange Kane love triangle. The Young and the Restless spoilers say some romantic surprises are still to come in Genoa City. Today's next update. The real reason behind Phyllis's seduction on Young and the Restless. Is she really attracted to him, or she trying to wrap him around her finger? On the Young and the Restless, November 14th episode, Phyllis ramped up her seduction plan. She hopes that Kane will succumb to her charm. But is there a reason why she's seducing him? Key takeaways. Phyllis tried to entice Kane during their conversation. Finally, he lost control of the moment and they kissed. Phyllis could be distracting Kane with her seduction plot. The seduction plot. Phyllis continued to charm Kane in Friday's episode. It felt like a scene from the 1967 film The Graduate. Phyllis wanted to know if Kane is seducible, and he wanted to know if she's seducing him. Kane told Phyllis that he was flattered and intrigued. Phyllis wanted to know where their relationship could go. So far, it's been strictly professional and flirtatious. But there's one problem. Kane is still in love with Lily. He told Phyllis that he didn't want to lead her on. Kane doesn't want to give up on their love and their family. But Phyllis thinks their relationship is doomed. She wasn't going to mince words during their flirty conversation. She's attracted him, despite his misdeeds. Phyllis put out the feelers, letting Kane know that she was available. Then, she told Kane that she's attracted to him, not only emotionally and professionally, but sexually as well. She believed they could relate to one another, especially since they're both outsiders. Phyllis kissed him, and Kane allowed it to happen. So much for Lily and Kane's reconciliation. What's Phyllis's real plan? Phyllis claims she's attracted to him. She claimed they're more alike than they are different. But what's really going on with Phyllis? Why is she seducing Kane? This is the same woman who stole his AI program and then gave it to Victor, who's now using it to destroy Kane. Phyllis is upset and wants to make it right with Kane. She doesn't want him to suspect her. She already has a feeling that he's onto her. Her seduction proved that Kane is putty in her hands. Phyllis should give a master class in manipulation. She lied to Kane without blinking. The redhead looked right into his eyes as she fed him lines. Phyllis plays Kane. Phyllis now has Kane wrapped around her fingers, so she could convince him that she can be trusted. She's trying to distract him with her faux loyalty. Kane is 100% sure that Phyllis stole the program. He later told Lily, who had walked in on them, that Phyllis loves to play games, which could be foreshadowing what's to come. If he gets involved with Phyllis, Kane will ultimately get played. Phyllis is only concerned about Phyllis at the end of the day. She also knows that Kane is determined to find out who has his AI program. She resorted to sex so he wouldn't suspect a thing, and doesn't care if she hurts Lily in the process. Will Lily stand by Kane after all he's done? For more of the latest updates and behind-the-scenes secrets from Young and the Restless, make sure to hit subscribe and ring that bell. Stay in the know with every new release.